Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Stu Hurry, broker owner of New Home Finders here in Tampa, Florida. And I want to talk to you today about the different types of financing that I can offer you. And having been in the business for 42 years and sold over 3,800 homes, I'm very familiar with financing. It's really a challenge today because the bar has really been raised. It used to be that you could get in with a 580 credit score. That's a mid score. You have 3 scores. The mid score would have to be 580. Now they've raised that up to 620 and 640. The loans that we're using mostly today, most buyers today, and surprisingly enough, and depending on the area, are cash buyers. And what that means is because the prices are so good in Florida today, and especially in our area, which is the Tampa Bay area, Polk County, Hillsborough County, Pasco, and Pinellas are really the areas that I work in. I'm finding that you have to be very creative, you have to have a lot of experience, and you have to be able to be a good listener and learn really all about what the buyer needs. And what I'm finding today is that if the people don't have cash, the remaining 50% are really having a problem getting approved. So what we're looking at is 100% financing. We still have it, that's the good news, but instead of 580, now we need somewhere between 600 and 640. The financing we're using today is FHA, and FHA is 3.5% down, and that eliminates quite a few buyers because they don't have the 3.5% down. So on a $100,000 sale, the buyer would have to come up with $3,500, and in some cases also pay some of their closing costs. So they could need as much as $5,000 to $7,000 to get into a house, especially if it's a short sale or a foreclosure. With a new home, they would be able to get in because the seller, I can negotiate for the seller to pay all of the closing costs, therefore relieving the buyer a little bit, and now you would only need the 3.5% down. However, we do have another program I want to talk about, and that is FHA bond. There are 2 types of FHA bond. They're both state. One is $5,000 for down payment and closing costs, but you would have to pay that $5,000 back at a payment of $54 a month. And I think that's around a 5.25% interest rate. The second type, and it's based on income, if you're making less than $42,000 a year for your family, then you can get in with FHA bond at $7,500 down, and you do not have to pay it back. But you have to live in the house for 10 years. The third type of financing that's very popular these days is USDA. And I do a lot of USDA. That's 100% financing, but you have to have a score of usually about 620 to 640, depending on the lender and depending on your credit scores and your debt to income ratio. So all of these types of financing are very, very popular today if you don't have cash. And most of my buyers today don't have cash. They also have issues with their credit. So a lot of the times we have to not only get them in with 100% financing and be very creative to get the credit scores up to the 640 or the 620 that they require. Also, we have VA financing, which is veteran financing, and on that particular financing you have to have around a 600 score, but it's also very popular. So you can see that a lot of the programs that are working today, and what we're hearing in the marketplace, is it's either cash for 50% of the buyers in this area, or it's going to be FHA, FHA bond, or USDA. So find yourself a broker that has a lot of experience and that understands these programs and how they fit your needs. Because most buyers today are have a lot of challenges ahead of them to be able to get their scores to where we need them, and that's why I'm connected with 3 different credit repair companies. All right. There's also hard money loans for investors. And on a hard money loan, it's hard for people to believe this, but you don't need any credit. You can have good credit or bad credit, and you don't really even need any income. They're just concerned about getting their money back as quick as possible, and they'll lend you. Usually they want 20 to 30% down, and you can borrow the money, and usually this is in relationship to the ABC contract, which is where what we call the flipper contract, where the buyer wants to buy it. He has got the option to buy it at, let's say, $100,000, and he's going to sell it within a certain period of time for $130,000, and that's where the flipper contract comes in, or the A to B C contract, which is the option contract. And you can get a hard money lender. I work with about 4 or 5 different hard money lenders. The interest rates are going to go anywhere from 10 to 18%, but it is there is money, all kinds of money available for this, and that's where a lot of these people become cash buyers because they're really speculators or investors. All right, then there are investors that are buying the houses to rent them out, and they are long-term investors. They're buying them not to flip them, but to keep them, and they usually are truly cash buyers where they can use their own money. A lot of people don't have any faith in the stock market, so they're taking the money out of the stock market or out of their savings or retirement plans and putting them into real estate because they think that the rents are very good now, so the return on investment, which is what the investor is interested in, is excellent. And this is probably the best time I've seen in 42 years that I've been in the business to get into buying real estate, especially from an investor point of view where you have no mortgage, you're paying cash, you're willing to hold them for 5 to 10 years till the market turns around, and they're in the hope that the investment will go up, and when they sell it, they'll get a great return on their investment. And that's a very popular program today all over the country. And I do work with investors, having worked with investors since 1968, and having owned a lot of real estate myself. The other kind of financing that is becoming more popular today is owner financing, where the owner is very motivated, wants to maybe move to another state, just wants to get out, and he's got the house free and clear, and so because he's having trouble selling it, he can probably get a little bit more money. He decides that he'll hold the interest rate, and he's going to hold it somewhere between 6 and 8% is a pretty good rate. So, and he can't get that in the bank. The banks, as you know today, are paying more than half to 1.5% interest rate. So it's a good proposition for him to hold a mortgage to a qualified buyer. And usually he's going to want a credit check, and he's going to want 20% down. But not always. Sometimes you can negotiate and get it for less. So that could be a good opportunity for someone that either doesn't have great credit and isn't going to get approved by a normal bank, but could get approved by a motivated seller. All right. The other type of contract that is sometimes applicable is the contract for deed or the assumption mortgage, where let's say the seller has a mortgage on it of $100,000. He'll sell it for $120,000 and let you assume the loan. He may do it through a contract for deed or subject to. And these are different types of contracts that I'm very familiar with. And as I say, because of my experience in investing, I love investors. I love to work with investors, and there are many ways to get these deals done. So it's very important that if you want more information on these loans, just give me a call. My name's Stu Hurry. I'm the broker owner of New Home Finders. I'd be very happy to help you, whether you're a first-time home buyer, a sophisticated investor, or whatever your case is. I can certainly look at your situation, find out what your needs are, and hook you up with the right lenders and the right property. I do a lot of business in new construction, foreclosures and short sales. I have a full-time staff that does nothing but foreclosures and short sales. So we're connected with the banks, and we know how to get a short sale completed. Thank you for your time today. And again, my name is Stu Hurry, owner-broker of New Home Finders. Thank you, and have a great day.